Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the All Balls Sports Show. Brought to you in part by True Love's Pizza and Grits at 1144 Riverside Drive. A discussion of any and all sports, local, regional, and national. And now, here are your hosts, Dan James, Eddie Bobo, Ty Cobb, and the coach, Vance Ballou.
Thank you, Bill Jones. Welcome into the All the Ball Sports Show for this Tuesday evening, the 30th day of January. Yes, you have a microphone. Yes, you can use a chip.
I feel like a sideline reporter. Coach, what were you thinking when you made that last call?
Well, I was thinking about wondering if we had the extra pepperonis ordered for the pizzas after the game or not. And wasn't sure, so that's what I was thinking about.
Actually, we do have extra pepperonis on the True Love's Pizza for after the show, Coach, so that everybody knows that. So, and speaking of that, I do need to mention this because I never have before, and the only time she ever got mentioned was the Shaq Mason show back early last year following the Super Bowl win, and pizza chick Carolyn Janes came through along with Regina Owens, and they were taking care of our pizzas for us. So I need to give a shout-out to Mrs. Janes, 40-year veteran teacher of the Murray County school system at McDowell, spent all 40 of her years at McDowell. And she takes care of our drinks. She takes care of our napkins. She takes care of our cups and our plates and takes care of the True Love's Pizza preparation for 7 o'clock when we get through. So my hat's off to my bride of 42 years. And how long she's been able to put up with me like that, I don't know. But 42
she's got to be a saint.
I think sainthood is in her future. But thank you, Carolyn, for everything that you do. And I know I don't say it enough. So there you go.
Well, I'll second that. She does a great job.
Yes, she does.
Pizza's good every week.
It's wonderful. And to put up with all of us like she does at different times.
Yeah.
She just treats you all like kindergartners and first graders.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's the reason she smacks me in the head.
Now,
No,
Eddie,
I'm just kidding.
now, Eddie,
I'm
you
just
know
kidding.
she's not done that in the last couple of years.
He's matured, so she.
Yeah, he has. Super Bowl week. Our guy, Shaq Mason, former Columbia Central High Lion from 2010
Championship
game in Cookeville, Tennessee. Coach, you've got to be, and I've said this over and over again, and we've mentioned, you've got to be one of the most proud men on the planet to have not only have a former player play once in the Super Bowl, but twice.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just beyond anything you could dream up. He's had 3 seasons now in the NFL with the Patriots. Became a starter over the course of his first year. And now the last 2 years has really been a dominant player. I'm not sure everybody in Columbia understands that. Many people have rated him as the top 2 or top 3 guards in the whole NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really saying a whole lot. And Coach Belichick has sung praises of Shaq and how well he's done, and it's just really exciting. And then for his team to get to the Super Bowl now for the second year out of 3 seasons is just you just can't dream it up any better than that. And Shaq's such a deserving young man. Besides being talented, he's humbled, hardworking, and stayed true to his roots, and just can't say enough good things about Shaq and the things that they receive. And I know all of Columbia, regardless of what team they support, is going to be rooting for Shaq and the Patriots come Sunday.
I think the funny thing that I saw was when Alicia posted last week, she said, I'm in Minnesota with my baby. And then she said, I'm going to be posting all week long, and I'm going to be singing praises all week long, so you might want to block me right now.
Spoken like a true mother.
Just like most people responded, we're eager to get those updates and hear what's going on. It's just a fantastic time for Columbia and Central football.
I think so too.
Yeah. And you was talking about him being rated probably one of the top two guards in the league. You know, most of the other teams didn't even show any interest in him to start with because they thought, well, he's too small. But he's proved them wrong.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he probably is an inch and a half, 2 inches shorter than most guards in the NFL. But, you know, he makes up with it so many different ways and can do so many different things. So he does a great job when he's got a man on him. He's having to block one-on-one, and when he's not, he does a great job in finding the guy that he needs to help out with, and he gets to the second level so well that you know, college and NFL coaches look for so much to find kids like that. So he's got so many assets that make him a complete player. Plus, he pulls so well too, and he does a great job of blocking that way. So, you know, despite his height, he offers a variety of things for the Patriots.
Yeah. They were really concerned about his pass blocking because he came from
A run-oriented school,
and the type offense they ran. That was a major concern, but
and I think the whole, you know, NFL and evaluating him coming in and the so-called scouting gurus and all that kind of looked at that it'd be a hardship since he played at Georgia Tech in the triple option offense and didn't pass block that much. But the same things that made him a dominant run blocker down there now make him a dominant pass blocker too. So he, you know, that was a concern. He did have to have some development there, I'm sure, but it didn't take him long.
Everybody, I'm
Hey,
here.
Chaz.
Just in case you're wondering why Chaz Molder was not here at the beginning of the show, it was my fault because I did not tell him that the All the Ball Sports Show originated from where it originates. He thought it originated from True Loves, and I can understand that, but it doesn't.
Well, you know, Dan told me that he was treating me to pizza, so I just assumed that we were going to True Loves.
But
So
no.
That's the whole reason you got me here.
No, we have it. It's at
Okay.
7 o'clock.
All right.
It's at 7
7
o'clock.
o'clock
After it's
pizza.
over with. Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Well, I
pizza.
pulled up to True Loves and the lights were off and there were no cars, so I figured I was in the wrong place.
Good guess.
That's right.
But speaking of famous Central High School students, Chaz is a former Central student, of course, and a former football player. And we're awfully proud of him, just like Shaq, all the things he's accomplished in our community. His community service has just been outstanding. He's a great leader and outstanding family man. You know, we've got so many guys that fit in that category, but you know, that's what makes coaching and being out of coaching at this point in my life a pleasure to experience every day and see the things that people like Shaq and Chaz are doing today.
Well, now I consider Chaz to be a good friend. Okay, and all those accolades are a wonderful thing, Coach. But he ain't blocking for Tom Brady.
That's true. About the only thing that Shaq and I have in common is that we both played on the Central team, and we're both McDowell Elementary graduates,
There you
which
go.
I'm also
Yeah.
very proud of. You know, Coach Blue, I was on his
And
team.
see, my wife again being a 40-year teacher at McDowell remembers you,
That's right.
and you were just
I'm very proud of the fact that I was a McDowell graduate. But, you know, Coach Blue, I was on his team the year that we went 1-9, and I never will forget that one game came at the very last game of the season against Centennial in Franklin, and Centennial was it's their first year, or it was their second year. They were brand new at the time. And what I won't forget is the celebration that we had in the middle of the field after we won that game. You would have thought we had just won the state championship.
But do you know what happened after that game? Their coach got fired.
Is that right?
Yes, because we came up and beat them.
And our coach went on to win a state championship a few
I
years later.
know. I know. I got the ring sitting right over there to prove that.
Exactly.
But yeah, all that because of the great players that we had and coaches. And I have a story I still tell from time to time.
Oh,
from
do
that
tell.
night.
Do
Oh,
tell.
yeah. I probably shared this one before, but we were 0-9, like you said, going
Right.
in, won that game, went 1-9. And Eric is in kindergarten that year. Still remember that, and Bryant was second grade, I guess. But they always waited for me to come home if it wasn't too awfully late. And so when I get in and walk in the door, Eric goes, "Dad, you still gonna be the coach when I'm in high school?"
And it turned out all right.
It did. But when he asked that question, I was wondering if I was still gonna be the head coach tomorrow or not. But it all worked out.
Anyway, Chaz is here to talk about a variety of things. Of course, you're a sports nut like the rest of us.
That's right.
And you are also the voice of the Columbia Lady Lions and Central Lions in basketball.
That's right.
A job that I got rid of.
I inherited from Dave James.
But let me tell you, there's a reason for that. Man's got to know his limitations, and the game is too fast for me to keep up, to do what I feel to be the best job I can possibly do.
Right.
Football, Stevie Wonder can do it because you don't have to see the game because I've got Eddie and I've got TJ. And TJ Brown and Eddie Bobo are my eyes for the field, even though we all kind of watch from time to time. So the game for basketball is just too fast for me, and I can't keep up with it. So younger eyes and quicker mouths had to take over.
It's a tough sport that I played in high school. And I'm reminded of it tonight. My right knee.
Oh yeah, he came in whining. Oh, my knee is hurt. I don't know if I can do the show or not.
And every now and then the shoulder,
Yeah.
the other knee.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, basketball is not a contact sport. Yeah.
Neither is baseball.
All right, let's talk about the Lions and Lady Lions. They're on the road to Shelbyville tonight.
That's right.
And what I'm going to do is get you to swap to this microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Swap with the coach.
Yeah, and then Ty. No.
Oh, microphone.
Okay. Give that to Ty Cobb.
There we go.
All right.
Or Ty can
Or
take
whoever.
that.
All right.
Or whoever's here. Hi, Ty Cobb. How are you?
I'm good. You thought I bailed and went to the Preds game, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you texted me and said you were coming.
I did.
And I believe everything you tell me.
I barely beat you, Chief, so it's all good.
Well, he went to True
Well,
Love.
you said bailed. I thought you might have been in jail.
You don't have to worry about that, but Preds play the Blackhawks tonight, but I'll get home and watch it on TV. So
Oh, okay.
I'm usually there, as you know.
So anyway, Shelbyville is host to the Columbia Lions and Lady Lions tonight. And
That's right.
Big district game.
Huge game, and of course the girls. I'll start with them. They've have a new coach, Josh Bugg, under sort of a rebuilding year for them. And I'll tell you the difference in this season versus last season with those girls is they are playing with a lot more drive and heart, and that shows. They won a big game. I guess it was Monday night against Columbia Academy, and just a single header matchup. Just the girls played. And I think that was also a really good opportunity for them to get a win under their belt, but they were really excited about that win. But the girls are just they have just a couple seniors, so they're young. Particularly have a freshman on the team that's a starter, so have an opportunity to really get her some good years of experience. Macy Gillum, of course, is the anchor of that team, generally the leading scorer and can compete with anybody. Of course, the Shelbyville girls traditionally are a powerhouse back in the days with Rick Insel and some of the players, Tiffany Woosley, Michelle Johnson, that went on to be UT Lady Vols players. So I'm sure the girls have a tough matchup tonight, but they certainly will play with a lot of drive and motivation. The boys, once again, are well positioned to make a deep run in the playoff. I think the home court advantage will be theirs if they continue the current pace, which means more games to call, Dan. So we're really excited about.
No, which will mean more games to call Chaz.
Right. Well, I'm just letting you know.
You don't do basketball, do you?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Although he is filling in for me on Friday night in a big game against Lawrence County.
The biggest game of the year.
Correct.
He gives me the biggest game
That's
of the
right.
year when I'm supposed to be on point for the entire game, both games.
That's right.
It's Heritage Bank night, and they're retiring a jersey. He gives all that to me. He just gifts it to me.
That's right. I even have your nice black bag there with your microphone. But
See? There you
speaking
go.
of
You can
Friday
handle
night,
it.
so we have Waddell Williams, Coach. You'll remember Waddell Williams. I don't think he played football. You probably couldn't convince him to.
No.
He was so talented in basketball, although I'm sure he could have. He was such an athlete.
Yeah.
His jersey will be retired on Friday against Lawrence County, which will be a big game, particularly for the boys, a big district game for us. I can't remember if we beat them there or not, but I know it was close either way. And generally, Lawrence County fans will travel. Obviously, it's close. It's a rivalry game. So I would encourage everybody to show up on Friday because that new Hardy Lloyd Gymnasium will be packed, and we don't want to be outnumbered by some Lawrence County. What are they, Ty? Wildcats? Wildcats, yeah.
Wildcats.
Have they given any indication when they're going to rededicate that gym in Hardy's?
You know, I've not heard. I mean, I know that it is called the Hardy Lloyd Gymnasium because there's the plaque outside, but I think that there's there have been a lot of new things that have happened in that gym this year. First of all, we were playing in the gym probably before we really should have even been. But as of mid-January, the new entry, of course, Central High School is fully complete. It's the phases have all been finalized, and so I'm sure that's certainly to come in the next several weeks ahead.
And the neat thing was they put the sound system in last Friday night, and it sounds awesome.
It does.
It really does. Sounds good. And Joshua Bugg got his big screen Jumbotron, got it working today.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
so the guy who sold it to him came and actually helped him put it together and get all the plugs and stuff put in so the screen is complete, and it looked pretty good.
Well, I'll say a testament to it, and Coach, I know you'd appreciate this, but a lot of our visiting teams, their players and coaches and parents have come in and have been very, very impressed with the facility. The entry, if you haven't seen it, is really incredible. Probably would match up with any school in the state, public or private.
Yes.
The gym, of course, is nice. Now we have this nice new sound system and a Jumbotron to boot. So it's impressive, something to be proud of.
And then Joshua said, we'll have the other Jumbotron in next year. And I'm like, whoa.
Okay.
That'd be
Good.
nice. Come in here and watch movies.
Next thing we know, we'll have a big screen at the football stadium as well.
That'd be nice.
Well, it's going to take a bigger one for the football team to do that.
Have the Jerry Jumbotron.
Oh,
like
by
they
the
have
way,
in
when
Dallas.
I mentioned that you were going to be on the show and I said that you were a big Cubs fan, we're going to get to that at some point. Sarah Harris-Berry said that would be hashtag Cardinal Nation, Chaz Molder.
Very well aware of Sarah. Sarah is a Cardinals fan. You know, we are a house divided. So my wife grew up in West Tennessee, and if you grew up in West Tennessee, you're a Cardinals fan. And, you know, growing up in Middle Tennessee, my options were watching baseball either on TBS or WGN. And I did like the Braves, but WGN, the Cubs always play the afternoon. So I'd come home from school and turn on Harry Carey at about 3 o'clock singing right, with a few too many Budweisers. And, and I fell in love with Harry Carey and those guys, Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg. So I'm a Cubs fan through and through. And actually, we have something to be proud of the last several years. You know, winning the World Series, and we've had better records than St. Louis. But Sarah's a Cardinals fan, but she'll come around, I think, if we can just.
I'm a Cubs fan and a Bud man. Never forget that.
Well, you know,
He was drunker than Cootie Brownson.
I had a brother that was a Cardinals fan, and his son is a diehard Cardinals fan. So, you know.
They just don't know any better.
Well, you know. It's.
I can
So
see
far-
the hashtags you're going to get tonight.
2 of
But
my
you know-
3 kids have decided to be Cardinals fans, so I'm working on our
Really?
baby.
In the early days, though, here, Cardinals and the Yankees and
Well,
occasional Baltimore game was about all you got.
Well, you got to remember though. I mean, when I started watching the Braves from Jeff Blauser, Jeff Treadaway, Dale Murphy was when it was all on TBS,
Right.
Channel 12,
Right.
and
When
I mean,
Ted Turner owned the station,
There wasn't-
and all that stuff.
yeah, it wasn't, but maybe 5 games it wasn't, and then Sports South started picking up a few of those games for the Braves, but it was still owned by Turner Network. So,
Well, back in the mid-'70s,
but I can name 100 Braves players.
in the mid-'70s when the Braves were so bad, and Chief Nakahoma wouldn't even come out of his teepee.
Well, in the 80s.
Now wait a minute, hang on. Let me set this up for you. Okay,
go ahead.
There were so few players in Fulton County Stadium,
Yep.
or so few fans that if you were going to be late, they asked that you call, said hold up the game so you at least have some fans in there. Yeah, they were terrible. They were awful. We had one of our disc jockeys. Well, he got accosted. ended up getting some handcuffs on him simply because he was dancing on the dugout.
Well, isn't Chipper Jones? Is he in this year's Hall class?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Chipper Jones.
Yes.
That's a huge deal for the Braves organization. And of course, Chipper obviously this is the first year ballot for him. I would think. I mean,
yeah.
he's certainly well deserving of that. For sure.
Pull in between these two yahoos right here because I got you a microphone.
Remember
There we
Big
go.
Ron Gant?
Yes.
Ron
Yes.
He would either strike out or hit it out.
Yeah.
Dave Justice was the same way.
Dave
Yeah.
Justice, I got his autograph. There's a lot of good Braves
I
players,
don't
but
remember Felix Mion. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Joe Torre.
you do.
Yeah.
Joe Torre.
Torre was-
You do.
you remember who threw the no-hitter for the Braves? It was 3 pitchers. Test question.
Tom
Merck-
Ryan, Smolton, Maddox.
Merker, Wohlers, and Pena.
Ah,
Dave Justice has got a nipple ring.
Did Negro throw a
that's getting to some
he was-
trivia. I
Oh,
didn't
no, wait a
need to
minute, Mo.
know.
We don't.
Negro throw a
No, I was in the Braves clubhouse. Coming
I didn't know
out
that, but
coming out of the MLB strike, I actually got to go down there and cover their series against the Giants. Giants had William Van Landingham, who was Billy Van Landingham when he left BGA, and so I got to go down at my previous place of employment and cover that series, and I was in the Braves clubhouse. Dave.
A few years,
Mr. Halle Berry at that time.
That's
actually.
right.
that's right.
I forgot about that.
He was
a few
very
years
good.
back, Chip and myself and our families, we went to the old at Fulton County Stadium. It was last year. Last year they were going to be there, and Annette, she had called down and to get tickets, and lady says, "I've got some tickets in a great section for you. It's right near the rail." And said it's going to be down the first base line. And it'll be right near the rail. And I thought, well, yeah, that'd be cool. Get a chance to get a foul ball or something like that up in the area. What she neglected to tell us was the rail she was referring to was the very top of the stadium. we were sitting there, and a pigeon flew between my wife and Chip's wife.
Wrong rail.
we did get to watch great construction going on at Turner Field.
On the outside, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
You know, it was very pleasant.
I have to, because I have my fellow PA guy in here. I have to mention something about the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta. I'm a member of the NASPAA, which is a national professional public address announcers society, for lack of a better term.
NS.
In other words,
Right.
$15 you can do it.
Right.
Wow. So Tim Haunchy.
Did they teach you the secret handshake?
But I got the secret Dakota ring in the mail, baby.
Drink your Ovaltine, huh?
Tim Haunchy adjusts to his new location. They have put this poor fella on the visitor side of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium at the 15-yard line.
15.
Yes, he's the PA guy.
Wow.
So what he gets now is he's got a software program where his guy, wherever he is in the stadium, sends it to him on his computer, and he gets to read off from that.
His spotter?
Yes. So he's on the 15-yard line, gentlemen.
You know, I was talking.
I thought I was treated badly in some places that I've been. No, I take that back. This is a multi-billion-dollar operation down there, and they got this guy on the 15-yard line.
It's
on the
funny.
visitor
Sometimes
side.
I'll talk to guys covering SEC
Wow.
football and that kind of thing, and they're in the press box, and they're at the, they're at the 20, the 25. They're wrapped around at the corner,
Yeah.
in the end zone. I'm like, press is, but I've having done this for a while. The media is the last thing that people think about in a lot of those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And they don't want to hear you whine about it either. So
No, no. And they don't want PA announcers doing play-by-play.
I bet that guy's making good money, though, Dan.
Marshall
Don't feel too
County
bad for
thinks so much of you, they've got the special spot.
They do.
They
Up
had
there,
to.
Reese Patton. Yeah.
I may not still that may not still be there.
No.
The last couple of times I was at Marshall County, I didn't even go to the press box, so they might have pulled it
Well,
after that.
I informed them that you would not be at the press box because I still had
How
your
did you
shoe
How did you
marks.
know that? How did you know that, Chip?
Because I knew you.
Oh, okay.
And I still had the shoe marks where you ran over me. So, but
Chip's not going to let that die.
But I did inform them, and they informed us that our offensive coordinator was going to have to stand behind our radio people,
That wasn't going to work.
and that wasn't going to work.
No.
But they had this big section reserved for Maurice Patton, the Tennessean.
Wishful thinking, huh?
No, no. It was typed out and everything. It wasn't handwritten. It was actually printed.
A printed sign.
A printed sign for you.
That's pretty
But
impressive.
they had taken
Yeah.
the upstairs where we always were. They wouldn't let us in. They were.
Uh-oh.
I think Vance ran the score up on them the year before.
Well,
Coach
that
is
would
quiet.
But anyway, they weren't happy with us. But which I informed them and reminded them that they had to come to Columbia next year, and that they might ought to bring a generator and a few other necessities.
a canopy.
Yeah, we've had that problem down there before, especially when TV comes down.
Well, and then too, they had like 4 or 5 radio stations in that press box. So I mean, it was unbelievable. But we just could not have our offensive coordinator standing behind our radio people.
Well, it's nice to hear that I'm still that well thought of in Lewisburg.
No. That was back several years ago.
This was
So you don't think that's any longer the case? Then is it?
well, like you said, it's probably not there now.
Yeah, most likely not.
But back in, you were still the head coach, so
Pretty
it was.
wild.
Well, outside of Marshall County's press box, I think the worst one we were in was over in Franklin County.
Yes.
It was more like a closet where we were at and doing our broadcast. And to see the scoreboard, you actually had to lean out the window and turn to your left
Yeah.
to see the scoreboard.
It was awful. It was awful.
I tell you what, though, unfortunately that's more common than you would think. If you go to enough of these places, you'll realize just the way they were built, and you know how well, I don't want to say how little, but the amount of foresight that kind of goes into that kind of thing, as far as sight lines and who's going to be using it and that kind of thing. It's
That's
not
because they
always
don't
there.
talk to the people who know.
Hey, you said that, not me.
Well, and two, when they went to the Thursday night lights, and then that created a problem because we ran into it at Dixon County, and we ended up going up on the roof, and this poor guy from Dixon County, this was the biggest wasp nest I've ever seen, and that guy went up there and killed the wasp, got us worked out where, because actually their film people and coaches went on one side and we went to the other side, and because TV and radio and everything, and their press box just wasn't
Right. Oh yeah.
ready
The
to
very few
handle it.
press boxes are built for that. Some of the newer ones nowadays are. You know, I mean, Mount Juliet's got a great setup over there. But one year, my first or second year back on high school, I guess maybe it was 2010. I was at Northeast. They played Henry County in one of those Thursday night TV games, and I remember myself and George Robinson, the guy from the Clarksville Leaf Chronicle, sitting outside in front of the press box. They had looped an extension cord out a window for us to, you know, to plug our laptops into, and we're sitting there with our fingers crossed that it doesn't rain, you know.
Well, the new designs have all the film crews on the roof, where now, like at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, there is no way to put anybody on the roof. And then you have to have your film crews inside. And the one year I'm sitting there, and of course, as press box administrator back when, name escapes me, athletic director, Claiborne.
Lee Claiborne.
Back when Lee was athletic director, I said, I've got so many people who are wanting in this press box. He said, let me explain it to you. Very simple. He said, the press box is like cake. You can have as much cake as you want, but when the cake is gone, there is no more cake. I said, okay, Coach. I said, so what you're saying is once we give up all the spots, there's no more left. He said, exactly right. I said, okay. That's always stuck with me.
There is a finite amount of cake.
There is. There's a finite amount of cake.
And the best part, Thursday finally came.
Mm-hmm. We'll leave that alone. But it's a lot of fun being up there where we are on Friday night, so I can't complain.
It's an experience.
Yeah. You have fun. You have fun with us up there.
I do have fun.
I
with
figured
y'all.
you went down on the sidelines.
I do during the game. I go to.
You do?
Usually, I'll try to get there and kind of hang out upstairs with Dan and the guys. But yeah, I prefer to be down on the field there, and it's. It's different for different folks. If I was writing on deadline, I might need to be up there and have my laptop out and writing and that kind of thing. But with the situation being what it is now, with the Daily Herald not having a Saturday paper, I can kind of cruise a little bit. So
on Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have a good time.
But I like being down on the field. You can.
More energy.
There's energy. You can hear. You can be right on top of the situation. You hear some things, so too. and I'm kind of nosy by nature, so it really kind of fits me pretty well to go down there.
Funny. That's funny.
You hear things.
What's up, Coach? You got anything to tell me?
Yeah, no,
Did you see Saban dancing this week?
Yeah, I taught him that. He did.
You taught him that?
They said that was from 4 or 5 years ago.
He's done it
and it's
multiple
just now-
times, I think.
And it's just now coming around again.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
What is the conversation that leads up to Nick Saban doing the Cupid Shuffle in your house? How does that come about?
Vodka.
How does that?
Just saying.
Hey.
I'm not saying that it is, but I'm just saying it could be.
It makes as much sense as
because
anything.
you know,
how does that come
you
about?
know that he knows it's being filmed, it's being taped, and it's going to go out to the masses.
Oh, immediate before he can get out of the house, probably.
Yeah.
He was in the helicopter yesterday. Stopped at 2 schools on a recruiting trip. I saw.
Is that not impressive? You
Just
stop.
I
You
like it.
stop with your helicopter.
I can't believe, as much as I hate Alabama coach, but I love Nick Saban. So
How about a little trivia?
go for it.
The new defensive coordinator, Coach Pease, with the Titans, coach under Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
In college, he coached at Michigan State, and he was Saban's defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So Saban's tree continues to extend.
Saban Belichick. I mean, it's a.
Now, when was he with Belichick? Well,
He was
with the Patriots.
He was
That's
with
right.
the Patriots.
That's it. So he was with Saban first.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
At
Yeah,
Michigan
he was
State.
Saban's defensive coordinator at Michigan State. So, yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Who has the advantage for Sunday?
Patriots, because they've been there multiple times.
Philly,
They're like
because nobody-
Alabama. They know how to finish. They know how to win.
Nobody expects the other team to win.
Don't give Brady the ball, and if he's down less than 7 points
With 2 minutes left.
with 2 minutes left, don't give him the ball.
However,
I agree with that, Eddie. But I think Philadelphia is for real.
Philadelphia's a great team.
You got to be for real to get to the Super Bowl. But I mean, I
But
think they're going to surprise some people.
but as of this afternoon, Gronkowski is not cleared to
He's still not cleared
play.
yet?
Nope, he had not cleared concussion protocol as of this afternoon.
Wow.
well, this is Tuesday, so he'll probably clear it by Friday.
Yeah.
With
He'll
Gronk
make it.
skipping Super Bowl opening night because of rules related to concussioned players and media duties.
Oh, wow.
Duties.
Yeah.
So they don't let concussed players talk then,
Nope.
huh? You
Not
don't
after the way he looked when he came off the field.
Well, he was pretty groggy, but here's the thing. I mean, how can you tell if Gronk's got a concussion?
That was Maurice Patton, ladies and gentlemen.
I think he'll be on the field, don't you?
I think it'll be tough to keep him on.
I do too.
Gronk and former teammate LeGarrette Blount, now our running back for
Blunt.
thank you, for the Eagles will be hanging out Tuesday at the mall participating in Xbox Live Sessions, big game edition, as they square off against each other in a game of Madden.
Former Tennessee Titan, LeGarrette Blount.
Okay.
He was one of their last cuts coming out of training camp one year.
Yep.
Speaking of Tennessee Titan won the MVP of the Pro Bowl, right?
Delaney Walker.
Delaney Walker.
Delaney.
Caught 2 touchdowns.
That's right.
4 catches, 2 touchdowns. I think I read where he had 3 all year with the Titans. He had 2 Sundays.
I was getting ready to say that. Yeah,
He's solid.
He is. He really is. I mean,
oh, come on, guys. The solid. The Pro Bowl.
no. I mean,
He said
he's solid.
he was solid.
okay.
No,
Calm
Delaney.
down, Daddy Dan. Calm down.
No.
It's all right.
No. I didn't even. You read about the one play I saw.
Yeah, what was
Yeah, I
the
know.
final score? Like 100 to
I have no
92?
idea.
I didn't watch it, but did they make a tackle? Was there one tackle?
There was
in that
one
game?
tackle.
Yeah.
Because
There was
usually
one
there's no
tackle.
tackling.
No, there
There was
was
a
one
guy
tackle because Quan Alexander from the Tampa Bay Bucks lit somebody up on like the first play.
Really?
And I think they kind of pulled him out and said, "Yo, dude,
It's a Pro Bowl.
slow down."
Um,
And
Because
the last
Mo and I
play
were
of the
texting
game,
back and
you
forth
know.
during the game. We're going, this would be much better if they had like 2-hand touch or flag football.
I might as well make it flag. I think it'd be more exciting. Those
Yeah.
guys having to actually grab a flag
Right.
instead of acting like they
Two-hand touch.
want to tackle somebody.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah.
I still think the Pro Bowl ought to be a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl.
I personally
just-
think the players ought to pick
big
from
money
the
involved.
lingerie bowl players and let them play in their place. It'd make it more exciting for us viewers.
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon.
ladies and gentlemen.
I think the Puppy Bowl would have been more interesting than the Pro Bowl.
Maybe Maurice could talk to Roger Goodell for us.
Oh, speaking of that,
Oh,
yeah, he
Oh,
was
I
in the
have
news
something
some
here.
too.
Dun, dun,
Chief
dun.
Wahoo is being phased out by the Cleveland Indians.
I read that.
But that hasn't affected the NFL stance on the Washington Redskins, according to Roger Goodell. The NFL's commissioner told ESPN's Mike Golick and Trey Wingo on Tuesday they were in no imminent plans to change the Redskins logo or name in the wake of the Indians' decision to abandon Chief Wahoo's logo, and Redskins owner Dan Snyder certainly doesn't plan to do anything about it if the league doesn't.
And you had to read that?
The only thing I can remember is Bob Uecker in Major League going just a little bit outside.
Yeah.
Just a bit outside.
they're finally showing signs of life.
It's a great movie. Great movie.
Wild thing.
No, I don't
Yeah.
see. I don't see the Redskins ever doing.
Take
it.
over,
I don't either.
Skippy. I'm out of here.
I
That
don't
won't
see
happen.
them doing anything.
It'll be the NFL that forces that if that happens.
And that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
I mean, even at FSU, they don't want that. I mean, the chief of the tribe down there said, no, don't change it.
Well, and that's the thing. There's the difference. The Seminole Nation has basically blessed Florida
Right.
State. I don't
Yeah.
think the Redskins, A, have any such blessing, or B, are looking for it. So, it's like they're kind of taking that up yours type attitude with it. And so we'll see how that goes.
I mean, how cool is that to go out there in the horse in the middle of the field with your flaming arrow and
I've never been to a game down there, but I know a couple of guys that played when Middle went down there,
Yeah.
and it's pretty electric. It's funny. I don't know if you guys remember Joe Campbell that played over at MTSU, the running back from Stratford.
Right.
There is a clip on YouTube. He went down and scored, and he came out of there doing the chop. I think it put Middle up at the time, but he came
Yeah.
out of there doing the tomahawk chop, and it was
Well,
nuts.
Middle led at halftime.
Yeah,
You
and I think Boots kind of got on Joe. It's like, dude, I think you woke him up with that chop.
Yeah, it did
Yeah.
because the final score was way out.
Yeah, it got ugly. But, at that time, Middle was still, one of the top 1AA teams in the country, and Florida State was playing with a full complement of Division I scholarships. And I
Right.
think those numbers, I think that's why it got away in the second half. So we're talking about a game from 30 years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
But,
yeah, but I also remember the interview that Boots gave, and they had asked him where you were going to stay in Florida.
Close to the
For the
hospital.
FSU game, he said somewhere close to the hospital.
Did he really?
Boots is a national treasure.
Yes, he
really
is. Yes,
He's
he is.
something else.
Yeah.
You used to carry the Boots Donnelly show.
Yes, we did. I was one of the originators on the Blue Raider Network, as far as being the engineer for that, name was never out there. Monty Hales was, but my name. But we did the Blue Raider Network.
You know, everybody knew Boots.
Yeah.
I mean, that Nashville media market.
Well, Boots knew everybody.
He was on. He was on, man.
Present tense, not new.
Knows.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And he works with I think Backfield in Motion, a nonprofit organization down in Nashville, and doing a lot of good stuff. But yeah.
He's still.
I just I often wondered what he could have done with a program like UT. You know.
Well, he's basically the reason MTSU is now a
On the scene.
BCS
Yeah.
program. I mean, FBS or whatever.
Right.
Whatever
I mean, you know,
initials it is.
He was one of the coaches said we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime, and you know that's when Bowden first went to Florida State. Florida State wasn't worth a crap,
Right.
and he said that we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime, and he made the statement. He said that's the only way you're going to get better is to play tougher competition.
Yep,
and and it worked.
Let me ask Coach this. Coach, in all of your years of coaching Central football, not going back to Shelbyville or any of that, but in well, I mean, he did all that. But
I know he did all that.
in all of your years of coaching Columbia Central football, what is the toughest team that you ever faced during that run?
I would say the best team would have been the 99 Riverdale.
Riverdale, I knew it.
They were quicker than any team at all. The only one other that comes in mind that level of quickness would have been the 06 Ravenwood team. They
Right.
were extremely quick too. But Riverdale's defense they were smaller guys.
Fast.
Yes, they were. They played running back type kids at defensive tackle, and man, they were just flying around everywhere.
And we played at MTSU Stadium that year.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure did. And
And their team went from the 0 to the 0.
Right. Well, and
They did. I mean, that was the big. I mean,
Yeah.
that was my first year with the band.
Yeah.
And I remember we walked in that stadium, and I looked at that team, and I went, "My God, there's so many kids," because they were just
That's where you put 11 in, 11 out, 11 more in.
11 out. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
Gary Rankin was
Yeah.
coach at that time. They were running strong. They won state championship.
Yeah, the man who complained that everybody else was recruiting. Yeah. The reason they got the divisions like they are now and all that stuff. So, it's.
No.
Vance, as long as we're asking you to reminisce for a second, where was the toughest place to play?
Marshall County's one. Now, especially if they've got one of their
Better teams?
or not even, if they're just average, they're tough. Well, it's a tough place to play. They've gotten that maybe in recent times that's come back. There might have been a period there where that wasn't quite so true. Lincoln County's a tough place.
That was that. I expected that to be
Yeah.
your initial answer.
Yeah, I mean, if it was
when
if
they
I
were
sat and thought about it for a few minutes before I answered, that's probably what had come up.
when they were really good.
Yeah.
When Lewis Thompson was down there and they really had it going on before Fayetteville City opened up. I don't think
What
there
years
was
was that, Maurice?
That would have been, from, I think, the first year I was aware of them was 1990 year when they won state championship with Kelly Holcomb and Rob Buchanan and
Went
that
to MTSU,
bunch.
yeah.
But that stretch for about 10 years there, you didn't come out of there alive. I mean, you just didn't. If you knew you were going to the pit.
And that town.
But we can
back
tell you
then,
this: best concession stand in District 8 AAA.
by far.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, back then, the town of Fayetteville shut down basically
Yeah.
like they did in they do in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
on Friday night. I mean, the town shuts down. Everybody goes to the game.
Pack the house.
Lewisburg, same way.
Yeah.
It used to be.
Yeah.
I went to playoff game down there, 08, in a very, very good Oakland team went in there. In fact, their linemen were scary.
Mm-hmm.
I remember standing close to them. I was just there because our season was over and kind of take it in Lincoln County. And I was so impressed with Oakland's guys through the first half. And, man, all of a sudden Lincoln County gets a little momentum, a little bit more, and then all of a sudden they're even with them. And then the fourth quarter, they just blew Oakland away. That was probably one of the biggest upsets I think I've ever seen. If you just looked at what the kids look like physically.
Mm-hmm. But just the atmosphere down there, I just love that whole situation with it literally being a pit, and again when they're going and their fans are at it and that kind of thing. I don't know that there was a tougher place to play when they were really good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, you know they designed that stadium after Columbia Stadium.
Sure did.
But it truly is a pit because it does not drain well at all.
Right.
Yeah, if it rains, you're gonna have water standing anywhere.
Somewhere.
It'll be on the field.
Without a
somewhere.
doubt.
I put Dixon County in there too as a tough place to go play, especially when they're at least having an average or better team.
Right.
You know, they're really
You
tough.
always
They-
played 11 plus 5 down there.
Yes. Yeah, I think the common denominator is those small communities, and how, like you said, they really back it. You know, it's really important to them, and therefore it's really important to the kids.
And it's funny that you say that because Lincoln County has seen Fayetteville open up and Dixon County and Creekwood open up.
Yep.
And I don't know if either of those programs has approached where they were before.
I don't think
since
they
those two
have.
schools opened.
I think that's
They
true
haven't
statement.
rebounded yet.
No.
And even in Rutherford County, I mean, Riverdale is no longer the dominant force that it was.
No.
Before you had Oakland and Blackman and all these other schools that have sort of
Now you got Siegel. and-
Siegel.
Yeah, and I mean, it really wasn't that long ago that it was only Riverdale and Oakland.
Oakland.
You can remember that.
Hey,
Now we've
It
got
I
wasn't-
remember when
it
it was just
wasn't-
Murfreesboro.
It wasn't that many years ago that I'm sitting in a Rutherford County school board meeting, and the school board from the state of Tennessee came down. They took a map of Rutherford County and put it on the board, and said, "Gentlemen, there's your line. You're going to put a school right here, and you're going to put a school right here. We don't care what you call them, but you're going to build them because you're going to have it because you're going to shut your other school down."
And Northwest and Broad Street was pretty much the
It
dividing
was.
line.
It was the dividing line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Now, I'm a Cub reporter at that time for radio, and I'm like, whoa, this is scary.
Supposedly, because there for a while,
Yeah.
you never saw Riverdale and Oakland good at the same time, and
Yeah.
it always seemed like kids found their way
until
wherever the better program
Oakland was
was.
baseball.
Well, they had open enrollment.
the town started expanding, and that's when they got better. And then they built the Siegels, and they built the Blackmans, and they built all these other
The
ones.
Stewart's Creeks, and there's
Yeah.
another one
Stewart's Creek.
online, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they rolled over into Smyrna and Laverne and all those up in there. So
But I can remember when I was a sophomore, we were playing summer league out of here at Central. And Coach Lander sent me in and wanted me to play the 5 spot. And he said, "Look big, spread out." And we were playing Murfreesboro Central.
Look big. I'm like,
And do you know who their center was?
Leo Martin?
Dennis Harrison.
Oh, okay.
Biggest man I've ever seen.
He's still big.
He took his arm and moved me to the wall in the back to clear out the lane. So it was just a nice clear out. But his feet were
You know what's really
Huge.
funny? Dennis Harrison is the wrestling coach at Brentwood Middle School.
really,
Wow.
Middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I think the smallest weight class is like 82 pounds. And it's just so funny watching kids after a match go over and shake hands with Dennis. Some 82-pounder going over and shaking Dennis Harrison's hand, all 6'9", whatever he is. It's the funniest thing.
Hey, I want to do something real quick, and I promised Chaz would do that. We've got somebody here in the room whose family member is running for governor of the state of Tennessee, and that would be Chaz Molder's father-in-law from West Tennessee. So take it away, Chaz.
Well, this is a sports show, right? I didn't think we talked politics.
Well, but we allow you to do that here.
And speaking of politics, I want to give a special shout out to Douglas Chapman, who about an hour ago was elected to fill Judge Lovell's term. Doug is a former football player for the Lions, coach. Would have been maybe before your tenure as head coach. But Buzz Lovell resigned or retired after 30-plus years. A good article in the paper that Ty was mentioning. I didn't know that Ty was one of the folks that responded to Judge Lovell when he had his incident at home. But anyway, Doug Chapman. So congratulations to Doug. But Dan, you're right. It's it's an interesting year. 2018. There's a lot of races on the ballot, and from the United States Senate on down to County Commission, and we're excited for obviously our family member. Support them all the way, and it'll be an interesting year to see what comes and turns out. I will say this though, it's funny. He's in Columbia a lot because he has 3 grandkids here. So somebody sent me a text message on Saturday that there was his car at the Zaxby's parking lot. I'm like, what is he doing here? I was, I don't know. We're not even in town. I didn't even know he was even there. But anyway, he loves coming here, and it's been exciting. The debate was last week. The first time they'd had a public forum, and Liz was actually my wife was asked to be the surrogate, and so she got to go talk for him, and it's just a cool experience for everybody. My 7-year-old daughter's really into it, so it's been a neat experience so far.
Give his name.
Craig Fitzhugh.
There you go.
My son's name is Charles Fitzhugh, but we call him Hugh, so he's sort of carrying the namesake for us for Fitz. We call him Fitz and Honey and Fitz. Honey is Craig's wife, but she goes by Honey to our kids, and he goes by Fitz. So anyway, we're excited. Who knows what the year will bring, but it's been fun, and it's been a good ride, and just to meet the people. I mean, that's what he enjoys. He's been in the legislature for 24 years, and he's from a small town in West Tennessee, Ripley, Lauderdale County. One of the smaller counties in the state by population, but the biggest county by land area. So anyway, he travels to Nashville 3 hours each way for the last 24 years for about 6 months out of the year. So it's been a long legislative career, and he's looking to sort of have a peak here at the end.
Good deal.
Chaz, if he's from Ripley, then you probably know who else is from Ripley.
Ramon Foster on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jim Hickman, formerly of the Chicago Cubs.
There you go. Well, I should know that. I was so
and you
close.
call yourself a Cubs fan.
Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Cubs.
No, a man
Maurice knows.
A guy who was very instrumental in my career, Ed Given. He was the sports information director at Middle Tennessee State when I was in school over there. Kind of took me under his wing. He was from Ripley as well.
Okay.
And he and Jim Hickman were contemporaries over there. So,
well, good to know. Ramon Foster, who's currently an offensive lineman, blocks for Roethlisberger, went to Lauderdale County Ripley High School, and so he's sort of the famous Ripleyan right now. I thought that's where you were going, but you were going baseball.
I was going.
If you just said baseball, maybe I would have gotten it. Anyway,
that's cool.
So. Anyway, we'll see. It's been fun, and you never know what might happen. And it's a crazy year. Obviously, we saw in 2016. You never know what might happen. And so anybody that thinks they know what's going to happen probably, they don't know. They don't really know. So anyway, we'll see. But again, going back to Doug, congratulations to him. It's a huge honor. Big shoes to fill for Buzz Lovell, who everybody in this room knows. His last day on the bench is tomorrow. We celebrated him today at a retirement luncheon, and he certainly deserves a good long retirement.
Did you get any nice gifts?
I don't know, but interesting fact. So Buzz,
you mean no nice gift from you or anything?
Well, I mean, our presence is all he really. So Buzz.
Okie dokie.
Right. Well,
he extended the olive branch and got the hell beaten out of him.
Well, yeah.
There's a Laurel and hearty handshake.
He's no longer a judge after tomorrow, so
you don't have to be nice to him anymore.
But Buzz Lovell, bringing it back to a little Fitzhugh trivia, Buzz Lovell and Bobby Holloway and Fitzhugh were all fraternity brothers at UT. So it's sort of
not
funny.
Holloway. No, no.
And Holloway was there today too, so it was good to see the criminal appellate judge that was actually there for us.
Well, see, he was my Boy Scout leader for Ross. and I was his assistant scoutmaster. So there are some stories we.
Well, I tell you, Bobby Holloway has overseen.
We best not tell them.
There have been a lot of Eagle Scouts that have come through that troop that Bobby Holloway has had an impact on, and as we all know, Eagle Scouts. You know, there are a lot of titles that we have over our lifetime that come and go, but Eagle Scout's one of those that sticks forever, and
it's like Marine,
exactly.
You know,
and Bobby has a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and I appreciate everything Bobby's done. He's a great guy.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he really is. All right, guys, predictions for Sunday in cold Minneapolis, where today the 104.5 crew mentioned they have been outside probably 9 minutes the entire time they've been there, and that's from the Uber driver at the airport to being inside, where they said they went into the door. That's about it, because they've all basically been staying in their pajama tops and bottoms. So we've got
bottoms is good to know.
Yeah,
well, the weather won't be a factor because it's inside. I'm still going to say the Patriots will win it. It'll be a close one, though, I think. But I'm going to say they're going to win it.
Patriots, and I hope everybody in Columbia supports Shaq Mason.
Well, as a McDowell and Central alum that Shaq Mason is, I am for Shaq Mason all the way. I was for him the last time that he played and won, and glad he had a ring. He came back to McDowell and showed the kids his ring, and it was a great day. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win because nobody is expecting them to win.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maurice is going to say Philadelphia.
We've got a nice article in tomorrow's Columbia Daily Herald on Mr. Mason. Well, and a certain coach sitting two seats to my left. But
did he interview you?
Oh yes.
Did he? All right.
Well, I couldn't get Shaq.
No,
he's a little busy these days.
Ain't nobody getting Shaq.
No, I went with the Falcons last year. And I'd love to.
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, exactly. This time of year, the Patriots are tough to beat. You know, much as I hate to admit it, I think I'm going to have to go with the Patriots. But at least, you know, the consolation prize there is, you know, we've got a local young man involved in it. So, you know, it won't bother me as much this time around. And I don't think Philadelphia is going to get up 28-3, but we'll see how it goes. You know, the way they're playing right now, I like what Foles is doing. Didn't expect that at all.
I know.
But how's he going to act on the big stage?
I don't know that he'll act any different. I think the difference is what New England's going to do to him defensively. It'll be interesting. But I think when it's said and done, Patriots' experience on the big stage makes the difference.
It does make a difference. Yep. Tom Brady's been there, 8 times? That says something. But I'll be pulling for Shaq Mason.
I'd love to be right. Let me say that.
But I do think the Eagles, I'm with Chaz on that. I think the Eagles will win it.
I
said that this morning at work.
Shaq when we had him on that I am not a Tom Brady fan. Never have been, never will be. But I said you can't let him have the ball with 2 minutes to go and, you know,
be down by
I agree. He's going to win.
But with that said, though, as good as Tom Brady's stats are, it makes me wonder, had he been on any other NFL team, would they have been as good? I think he's more of a product of a system than his actual talent.
Yeah, that could be debated. I mean, you've covered sports a long time. I mean, you think of the quarterbacks that played for Steve Spurrier or in other systems.
Well, I mean, when you saw Garoppolo step in there a couple of years ago, and he had the success that he had, you know, Matt Castle stepped in there and had the success that he had. But
they were a product of the system.
Yeah, but I think at the same time you have to be able to take advantage of that system as well. So I think a lot kind of come together.
Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas, all them. You know, it was a system.
Sure.
It was the system. Bob Gracie down in Miami.
Although Tom Brady today, he scored some points. You know, there was an interview yesterday where apparently one of the reporters, I didn't see it, but called out his daughter, and Tom Brady cut the interview off and maybe walked out. But today, Brady came back and said that reporter may have just been having a bad day,
and he hoped he didn't get fired.
Right.
He was suspended over it. Apparently, Brady's got some documentary or something out, and his daughter was, being a kid, and this guy made some kind of derogatory comment about Brady's daughter, and Brady took him to task over it, and rightfully so. I mean, before you were an athlete, you were a man, and you don't mess with somebody's family. So,
Right.
So kudos to him for stepping up.
You don't mess with somebody's kid.
Did they put the reporter on leave or?
Yeah,
they suspended him.
Okay.
Yeah.
and Brady came to his defense today, which he didn't have to do that either.
No, I'm not sure I would have, but that's one of many differences between me and Tom.
And we can discuss that later.
There we go.
Of what would have happened in the James household had that happened. Sure. Yeah. Don't mess with sitting in the bag over
We're
there.
getting True Love's Pizza tonight.
Yes, we are. And we're going to have True Love's Pizza. Guys, any parting shots?
Go Shaq.
Go Shaq.
Yeah.
Go Shaq.
Good way to leave
Absolutely. Get that second ring.
Right.
And glad that Mama Alicia could go along with him, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was actually walking into the gym Friday night before who did they play? Franklin County Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And D James was walking in right behind me, and I asked him if he was going up, and I think they're leaving tomorrow night, maybe flying up. So
Way cool.
for a young man to have a chance to see something like that, maybe that'll motivate him a little bit to
Good deal.
kick it up a notch in that rehab and get back on the field maybe this spring or this fall. So.
Well, guys, thank y'all for coming in. We appreciate it.
Friday
Everybody on
night,
all the
Lions
balls.
Den.
Yes.
Waddell Williams,
Big-
Heritage Bank Night.
Big deal. And Lawrence County coming to town, and we ought to pack the house
We should.
because it's a big district ball game.
And from all that I gather, Lawrence County will probably come in here in big numbers. So
Yeah.
you guys need to be out there. This is a big one.
Oh, I'll be. Oh, believe me, I'm going to be there.
Central's boys have yet to lose in the new facility.
Oh, and they have yet to lose, and I'm going to be doing the game prior to that earlier in the day between the faculty and the students.
Oh.
So I'll be PAing that game too.
Oh,
Yeah.
faculty student game.
Yeah.
That ought to be interesting.
You ought to cover that.
Nope.
I've already been told there's a number of fouls that I need to call on the students so that. Well, never mind.
And anyway, yeah.
That was good, Eddie.
All right, guys. For everybody on the show, thank you for watching. Have a good evening.